We'll start this final tutorial by going through the advanced or manual toolbar and explaining what these different commands do quickly. So the first command, unfold and export, this is essentially the same as the unfold test, except that it also sends the unfolded piece to the print window. And you can tell that by the green outline in the background. So if I click on this object here, you can see the green background is telling me that it has exported successfully, that is, it's small enough to fit on the page. So if I open now the print window, we should see the object there. Sure enough, there it is. So this can be a handy way of manually sending individual pieces rather than using the complete auto unfold, which goes through every group and sends it to the print window. Next item is the manual unfold. So the way when you want to use the manual unfold is if you have an object that for some reason you're unable to unfold using any of the automatic unfolders. So you click on this icon and then you can read the text at the bottom, which will tell you how to use the manual unfolder, but essentially it lets you click on one face, click on another face, and unfold the object manually. After you've unfolded the object, you can deselect it and you can add tabs manually, which is the next command, to the different faces that you wish. Finally, when you're finished, you can click on the export unfolded piece, click on the manually unfolded items, and now when you pull up the print window, sure enough, you see your manually unfolded object. So let's undo all those commands, bring us back here. The next item is the split command. You won't need to use this very frequently. I won't use an example here, but essentially what this lets you do is select a face. That face acts as a splitting face. The plane that face engulfs lets you split your model, everything that's attached to the model, into two groups. It's very rarely used. I encourage you to play around with it to understand how it can be used effectively. Set up components. So what this does, let's delete these extra polygons here. Set up components basically is also an advanced tool, because instead of going through doing all the breaking up automatically, it lets you do it. So if I click on this here, it'll go through every single group and break them up and get them ready for unfolding. So you can see here it's broken up the tank model to all its groups. So now if I wanted to manually unfold each group, I could click on this icon, and there's one, and I could go through each piece. And then when I hit the print window, you can see these different components there. Plus, because I didn't purge, you could still see the remnants of a previous cut up. So that's set up components. Model back together. And then finally there's the print window, which takes you to the print window. So in Waybe we use 3 different colors to give quick messages back to the user. For example, if I click on unfold test, you see a blue color in the background. There's also potentially, you can see using different commands, green or red. I'll just describe what these mean. So the blue during the unfold test essentially tells you that the cutup is small enough to fit on the print paper, that you unfold that the piece unfolded successfully, but it also lets you know that it hasn't actually sent it to the print window. So this image here isn't actually in the print window right now. Nearly identical command coming down to the unfold and export, you will get a green icon here. This essentially tells you everything that the blue told us, plus the extra information is that it's actually exported this object now to the print window. So if we open up the print window, we should see it there. So the last color you can see, let's make this a little larger. Now it's too big to fit on paper. If we do an unfold test on it, it's going to come back red. It's determined that it will not fit on paper, and so it's giving us that message we need to make it smaller, or make the components of it smaller. Now if you go to the plugins menu into Waybe setup, you'll notice some settings commands that you can do. You can change, for example, the paper size. So if you're using a printer that uses larger paper, then you can increase this and you'll be able to print out larger objects. Also, the Waybe preferences, while we're here, lets you change the print window type. Right now you've seen the default print window every time we open it. You can also switch this to a Microsoft Word version if you prefer. Let's take a moment now to talk about fixed components. So in this example, we have two paper components. So these are the standard components that we've seen already, unfoldable components. And I've also introduced a third component here, which is a fixed component. So this piece in the middle, this cylinder piece holding the two ends together, is actually made of wood, not of paper, and we do not want to actually unfold this piece. The way that you can specify for a particular group whether it should be foldable or not is through the material quality. Here you'll see that the material has been specified as wood, whereas for these two the material is paper, as it is for this. What that means is when you want to unfold this component, clicking the complete auto unfolder, the wood piece will not be unfolded. So you see that the two paper pieces have been unfolded and the wood piece remains, and that's because we actually have the wood piece already in our toolkit, and it's something that we're going to attach to these two cutouts. So this is a handy way of making hybrid models, paper/wood hybrid models, and gives you a lot more options on what kind of models you want to build, departing away from pure paper models. So in Waybe we've set up this component toolkit where you can open it. Now, you may have to navigate to the Waybe toolkit section, and there'll be a bunch of different fixed pieces, fixed components that you can choose from, that if you have the Waybe toolkit or the Waybe kit, then you'll be able to access those pieces and they'll already be dimensioned correctly for you in Waybe. The final topic in this tutorial is the print window. Print window gives you 6 different options to choose from. Some of these are very simple options such as help, undo, delete. So if you select an icon and delete, you can hit Ctrl+Z or click the undo delete button and it'll bring it back. There's rotation, so you can rotate images. Text boxes, you can click on the text box, choose a location, enter the input, and you can now, let's do an example. Now you have a description that you can drag around, also on the print window. Print is pretty self-explanatory. One other option you have is save. You can save this as a web archived file. This is handy if you want to trade your handouts around. Do remember to click File, Save As, and save it as a .mht file. Test. And there you have it. You've now saved this document and you can trade it electronically to other people. And then it prints out using the print command within your browser. So I want to thank you for taking the time to go through these tutorials. I hope they're helpful in allowing you to use Waybe and that you can get out of Waybe what you hope to.